Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and welcome to my impressions of the Guild of Dungeoneering. I'll let the intro song do the thing.
The Guild of Dungeoneering, on a quest we're never veering, oh, to be a Dungeoneer, swimming in pools of gold. This is the Guild of Dungeoneering. All the monsters keep appearing.
It's got character. Okay, so the game is about basically a turn-based, card-based sort of strategy game where you sort of build a dungeon around your hero, who then has to go around, kill monsters, and do an objective, and, you know, that's the dungeon game. In the meantime, you can build a bigger guild, and you can add little buildings that do various things. First of all, it's got a lot of character. Like, a lot of character. This game is dripping. Like, the whole bard singing in the background is really kind of awesome and thematic, and the sort of the art style they've got is pretty awesome too. I've got to say that it is absolutely dripping with character. This thing is pretty awesome in that regard. One small criticism, by the way, is that there aren't any options to do with video. You can see that it's got, you know, a couple of options to do with audio. And then it's got down here, tiny little writing, 1080p, 1440p, 1440p, and I'm pretty sure it says it's running at 1080p internally, upscaled to 1440p for a 1440p window. Like, you can't change any of the visual options, which is kind of disappointing, especially considering it's upscaling a 1080p window. I'd rather have a 1080p window, and of course I'm going to put this on YouTube as 1080p, because why would I put an upscaled version on there? Plus, you know, my internet is awful. So that's kind of a little black mark there. Just going to state that one because that kind of annoys me. But basically, the game consists of this level here where you build buildings, get a bigger guild, get more members, and small kind of trinket buff type things, and then the actual dungeon mechanics. So we'll explain this in a minute. Let's go to the dungeon mechanics. So go exploring. And you can see that I've got about 4 hours gameplay in this game so far, but I'm pretty sure I've got enough experience to give you quite a solid understanding of how the game works and all my criticisms therein of it. So I've succeeded in all these missions. Let's go do this one here. And it is the Ocular Rift. Find your way into the Eye Beast's lair. So this is like the first part of a 2-quest mission adventure. And you get to pick your Dungeoneer. So here we've got a chump, an apprentice, a barbarian, a bruiser, a cat burglar, and a mime. And they all have slightly different abilities. They all have, like, some special perks. I think the barbarian is like a second-tier hero. And that doesn't mean they're any better. It just means that they are really hard to get hold of. And actually, I really don't like the barbarian at all. I don't think they're particularly any good. I'm going to go with the bruiser. Actually, the bruiser is probably one of my favourite characters in this. So this is Rainy the Bruiser. And then you can add a trinket, if you've got them unlocked, to give them a sort of a buff. So you've got Trickster's Favour, which is +1 loot choice after the first 2 fights. Gives you a sort of a nice introduction. Allows you to, you know, get more loot to buff your hero early on in the fights. Warrior's Might. I think this is a second-tier trinket. Because I'm pretty sure it used to be like Warrior's Favour or Warrior's Spirit, and then it's now Warrior's Might, and I've paid a lot more for this. It's now +1 to first physical damage in battle. So that applies to all battles rather than the first 2, which is what most trinkets do. So if we go to Hug in a Bottle, +1 HP for the first 2 fights. Crone's Knowledge, +1 starting hand size in battle for the first 2 fights. So I'm actually going to go for this Warrior's Might second-tier thing, because this actually seems to be a genuinely, like, a good thing. Like, +1 damage in your first physical attack. Pretty awesome. Let's start the battle. Let's start the dungeon. So this is the dungeon map. So as you can see, there are like little tiles, and there are these little red things, and then there are some yellowy things, and then there's this blue thing over here, and that's us. So that's Rainy, our little bruiser, who's sitting back here and doesn't have anywhere to really go. And you can see around it you've got these tiles, and what you do is you actually build the dungeon itself. You don't actually, like, control your character. Your character will walk in the direction that you can sort of lead it. Like, you can lay a path and it will walk down the path. But your character, you don't have any, like, direct control. So, for instance, right now it can't go anywhere. If we put, say, a mysterious fountain in here, we've got the Fountain of Clairvoyance. Okay, so it basically randomly generates a fountain, by the way, on any card that's marked as a fountain card. So now it's got a route. Like, Bruiser can actually go, oh, look, there's money and there's an enemy. I'm going to walk this way. And you see the little footsteps indicate roughly where our character is going to go. So I could lay down like an enemy, like this is a level 2 snake. We're level 1 at the moment, and I don't really want to lay down a level 2 snake, and you can't lay them down ahead, you can only lay them down in, like, areas that you're connected to. So I would have to put the snake here, it's the only spare space. There's a ooze here, and I don't really want to put a level 2, like, fight straight away as I'm level 1, so we're just going to end the turn. What's this? There's nothing near it? Oh! And now we get the ability from the fountain, which will apply to the next fight. So, basically, this is how the game works. You get a hand, you can play up to 3 cards. You don't have to play any if you don't want to. And you can then sort of lead your character around. So I'm just going to start laying some paths down here as well. And hopefully our character will go that way and then sort of back down in this general direction. Let's put one there. Hopefully roll a good fountain. Yes, Fountain of Clairvoyance. Right, so this is our first fight. We've got our Grey Ooze, and we've got us. So, as you can see, that we have 2 decks. They've got their deck, which they draw off the top of and play instantly. Like, they don't get a choice in what they play. They just play the first card. And this is our deck here. And out of our deck, we've drawn 3 cards, and we get a choice. So, they have 1 magical damage. And they're going to do that to us. And we've only got 5 HP. They've got quite a lot of HP. And we have a way of blocking that. So these little shields mean block, and the blue and the little, like, firebolt, whatever you think it is magic. So that says block 2 magic. We've got block 2 physical here, and we've also got do 1 physical, and it's unblockable. So that little symbol means unblockable. So we can choose to block, we could choose to, that wouldn't do anything because it's not physical damage, or we could do 1 damage ourselves. But we've got the buff from the Warriors, I can't remember what it was called, the amulet thing that we had at the beginning, which would actually give us 2. I'm going to do block. Now, the reason that I'm probably... actually, no. We can see their next card coming up. The reason we've got that is because we got the Fountain of Clairvoyance. And that allows us to see their next card. So, I'm going to go for an attack this turn. So, I'm just going to do the 1 damage, which will be 2, because we've got the buff and the trinket. So, they're going to attack me, but they're also going to block at the same time 1 physical. So, if I did this one, if I punch them, they'd block that 1 physical. I can't really block any physical because they're not doing any physical. So I'm going to choose to defend against the magic. So they won't do any damage to us. However, if we have a look at the Bruiser's special ability, which is spiky, when you fully block an attack, deal 1 damage. So by blocking their attack, they do no damage to us, but because they're not doing any damage, we get our spiky, which does 1 damage to them. Which is why I really love the Bruiser. The Bruiser's really awesome. Possibly a little bit of a complex mechanic to get, started on, but it's really awesome. So they're going to do 1 magical damage and it's unblockable. So I'm just going to punch them with Oi, do 1 physical damage. A bit wary now, that's 3-3. And next time they're getting a heal with a bit of magic, so I'm going to go for... Oi. It's not if I can block them or anything. Okay, so I have no way of blocking that, and they're going to heal. So I guess I have to use attack. We're on 1 HP, they're on 2. And this is probably where we die. Yeah, okay, so there isn't anything we can do here. They have magic damage. We can't block it. So, unfortunately, Rainy is dead. Now, the Bruiser is actually a terrible choice to take on this mission. I failed this mission several times, and the Bruiser is a terrible choice.
They tried in vain to overcome and not be slain, but overrun and very scared. Our heroes fell in battle.
So, there we go, the Bard again. Seriously, the amount of character in this game is off the charts. But that's fine, because when Dungeoneer dies, you instantly get another Dungeoneer. New name, new appearance, but same old Dungeoneer, so we've got another Bruiser with the same amount of health, etc. The stats aren't different, they're all the same per class. And one thing you actually have to be aware of is that if you succeed in the mission, you don't get permanent levels ups and more equipment. You just regress back to level 1 with no equipment again. Which is a little bit weird for, if you're used to normal sort of games where you gain equipment, you gain level ups over time. You gain equipment and level ups only for a particular quest. So, let's try the same one again, but we'll try a different character. Now, we probably will fail, by the way, because I have tried this one a fair few times. But I think if we're going to do this one, we need someone who can do magic damage or protect against magic damage because of the foes in the actual dungeon. So let's go exploring. And let's go here. And I'm going to go... Ooh, Warrior's Might is pretty good. It's +1 physical damage in battle. I'm going to go for the mime. So the mime is a sort of a mixed... So, you know, you've got something like the apprentice. If we go back to the apprentice over here. And the apprentice specializes in doing magic damage and also blocking magic damage. It's basically the equivalent of, say, the bruiser or the chump. Both of those specialize in doing damage straight up front. But the cat burglar and the mime are slightly different. They sort of have a mix. They do a bit of magic, they do a bit of physical. I'm going to try the mime. I think the mime mostly does magical damage and does quite a bit of physical defense. So we'll try that out. Let's enter the dungeon. We'll take Warrior's Might with us. So as you see, it's the same dungeon again. Each quest has its own little dungeon with like different mechanics. And our mission here is to reach the objective. And the objective is this blue tile over here. And it's actually quite a difficult one because you can see that to get there, we have to go through this Minotaur. And to get to the Minotaur, we have to go through Conceal, Decay, or Stupidity. So I think Stupidity like adds some cards to your deck which are like blanks or something. I'm not sure what Stupidity does. Decay means that you take extra damage if you take a large amount of damage, and Conceal means you can't see what card they're playing. Conceal is a horrific debuff. It will get you killed. So to start off with, I'm going to put a room here. Gold coin. And I'm not going to put like a snake down. Like I said last time, that's a bit too much. So we're going to move up. We're going to get the coin. Lovely. And then what are we going to play this time? Play a room there. Play a Grey Ooze. And I think we'll just end our turn here. So we'll move this way to this Grey Ooze and the money. Now, the thing about a Grey Ooze is they have Mundane, which is incoming magic attacks get +1 damage. So anytime I do magic damage, they will take an extra damage. So they want to do one magic and they want to block a physical. So I'm not attacking my physical because it wouldn't do anything. I'm not going to block with that because that wouldn't block anything because it blocks physical and they're doing magic. So I'm just going to do magic damage, which will do magic damage +1 magic damage because of their mundane. And I also get, if successful, enemy discards a card. So I take 1, they take 2, and I can choose to discard either Flare, which is unblockable, or Drain, which gets some HP back. I'm going to get rid of Drain. I don't want them getting HP back. So they want to do 1 damage unblockable. I can't block it, so I'm going to choose to do Imaginary Cannon. 2 magic damage, which is +1 because they're mundane. They want to do 1, and I'm just going to do Stage Presence, which will give me +1 because they're mundane, kills them off, and I get to choose to discard a card. I don't know why, they're already dead, but it does show you that. And now, because you succeed in the battle, you get some experience, so we've leveled up, we got +1 HP, as it said, and we also get a loot. So we get a level 1 loot, it says, you know, head 1, offhand 1, weapon 1. So that means that they're level 1 loot in each slot they take up. So you've got an offhand slot, a weapon slot, a head slot, and a body slot. So we've got Troll Femur, which gives you these cards. Now, 3 of those cards are pretty nice, but it also gives you an card. And is just a blank card. So sometimes when you draw you can be like, well, I have to play this to get rid of it out of my hand. Or you can just sit there with it taking up a hand slot. So basically, it gives you some nice cards, but it offsets that by giving you basically a wasted card. Or I can have Cuppa, which is a Fire Blast 2 magic, or I can have Paper Crown, which gives me a block which is both magic and physical. It'll block 1 of either, and it will heal me for each amount blocked. So I'm probably going to go with Cuppa. I like having a 2-power Firebolt spell or whatever it is. So now we're going down to this guy, and I want to put the massive gem there. Because that's worth, I think, 3 gold? No, it's 5 gold. So we'll go down here, and we'll grab 5 gold, we'll defeat the ooze, and I'm going to try and bring us down this way, and get us to go past this mimic here. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I want to head in to hit this Minotaur, who has 10 health, through the Fountain of Decay. Because I don't want to hit this one up. I'm not sure what Stupidity is. I'm pretty sure it adds like a load of blank cards. I certainly don't want to Conceal. So I want to head in through this way and get Decay. Then hit the Minotaur. The Minotaur also has Decay. And along the way I'd like to fight a few enemies. So the enemy that you fight depends on the loot the loot you get depends on the type of enemy. So a level 1 enemy will give you level 1 loot. So you can't continue just going, I'm going to fight level 1 enemies all the time. Because A, you get less experience so you won't level up as much. And B, the loot you get will be kind of awful. So I've got a level 3 enemy. Don't want to face them. Certainly don't want to face a level 3 enemy right now. That'd be way too much for us. I think what we'll want to do is probably head down this direction and through here. but I don't have any cards that can connect there, so you hold a card and it'll say, you can put the card here. And there's only one place you can put the card. I'm not going to put the card there. I don't want to be going that direction. It's kind of a cool mechanic that it shows you where you can put the cards, so you don't have to fanny around placing it. I'm just going to end the turn. So we're going to go fight that ooze and hopefully get ourselves a nice big gem. Should be pretty easy. Since we do magic damage and they're kind of severely weak against magic damage, we should be okay. So I'm just going to use Stage Presence to make sure I can choose which they discard. I don't want them healing, so Drain, goodbye. Same again. I think the obvious choice is to get rid of the one that blocks damage there, not that I'm really going to use it. Imaginary Cannon should do 3 damage because they're weak against it, and bam! He's battle. So you can see here we get a choice. We can have the offhand, which would replace this offhand. So it tells you, oh, you will lose this because this is, in the offhand, you will have to exchange your hot cup of tea for the wooden board. However, I have seen this not work. When it comes to one item of headgear, it was saying, oh yeah, you'll get this. I was like, cool. And then I realized that it actually replaced an item of headgear I had and didn't tell me that I was losing health because of it, because some items actually give you health. So something like the pigeon nest we could go for. Or we could go for the ruffled shirt. That's 1 magic damage but gives us a heal. And that is 1 physical damage. It's quick, which means that it acts before them and we draw a card. I'm actually going to go for the pigeon nest. I like the idea of a heal. So we are now wearing a pigeon nest on our head. And you see it appears on our little character there, which is kind of cool. Okay, so I'm going to put a mysterious fountain here. Ah, combustion. That's not great. And then put some gems down. Now, I would have liked to put the snake down as well. Ooh. Right, so I can choose. I can be like, I'll put a giant bat or a grey ooze down, but they're level 1. I do need to fight level 2, so I'm actually going to probably put the snake down. And hopefully the snake will also have combustion, because it's in that area, although it doesn't look like it's... Does it burn? Burn, right, okay. And I can put that there. And I'll put a ghost down as well. So there we go, we're fighting 3 level 2 enemies. Hopefully it should give us some decent experience. Ah, right, so they've opened up with this, which is they will do 1 damage and they will heal 2. Now, you can overheal, so they will gain a lot of health. I think my choice has to be... Really, I have to force them to discard. And I'm going to force them to discard Charge. It's so much better than Claw. So they'll do Claw. I'm going to use Imaginary Cannon. And it's looking pretty dodgy. That's unblockable, otherwise I would use Block. So I'm going to go for Clone Enemy's next card. Let's see if it works. Do we get a good card? We've got Darkness. Okay. They're going to do 1 magic to me. And block 1 magic. Frankly, I'm just going to play Darkness against them so no one does anything. We're at 3 HP, they're at 5. It's pretty bad. I have no way of blocking this, so instead I'm going to do 1 damage, I'm going to heal 1. That's unblockable. I'm going to Fire Blast them. Now I can kill them next turn if they don't block. 1 damage, discard. Haha, but the first physical damage I do in any one single battle does an extra physical. So if I choose to use my physical damage, and I also block them, it will, I won't discard a card, and I should do 2 damage, I think. Yes! Awesome! More is might to add 1 physical damage. There we go. And we get a choice of level 2 gear. So you can see we've got a club, which will give us a restore, which is magic and is successful 2 HP, and bash. Skull cap, but that will replace our current cap, which is not particularly good. We're wearing a bird's nest. Or Tattered Mail, which gives us 1 HP, Repel, which is a 3 melee block, and which is, a blank card. I'm actually going to go for this, because I like the idea of a double heal. Right, what do we get? I can't place any of these rooms. I can't place this one because it doesn't fit there, because there's no entrance here. This one I can't really place anywhere. So I'm just going to elect not to place anything. I mean, it's tempting to put a shade down or something, so I can get like level 3 loot. I would like some level 3 loot. In fact, I'm actually going to put a shade here. So if we can't like find something here, at least we'll go back and fight the shade. Alright. Hello, Ghosty. So you can see we've got burn, because we hit the fountain there after our fight. We actually have a burn effect, and burn does 1 damage per round. So they want to do 1 magic damage to me, and they want to block 1 physical. Fine, I'm going to use Rekindle, which will give me a heal. They'll take damage, then we'll both take damage from burn. So they want to do that and heal. I can't really block that. So I'm going to do Bash, because it'll do 2 damage. Because of the +1 from Warrior's Might, and then burn, and it should kill the ghost? Yeah! Awesome. Well, by the way, the ghost and ability, which is if you do more than like... You know, if it's got more than 1 HP left and then you kill it, it will go back to 1 HP. So you have to get it to 1 HP to kill it, so you can't really instant kill the ghost, which is kind of annoying, but pretty badass. I will go for Tattered Mail. I mean, it's got an but it's +1 HP and Repel. Pretty nice, especially considering Repel is like a 3 melee block, and the Minotaur we have to beat over here to get to our objective is like a 3 melee. Okay, nothing I can put here. Okay, I'm going to put a Mysterious Fountain down, see what we get. Combustion. I don't like combustion fountains. I mean, they apply to everyone equally, so... Wild Panic Gesturing! Guys, we've got to fight the Mimic. Alright, so it's going to block 1 magic, and all I can do is magic, so... I guess I go for the heal. So I'll only take 1 damage. Headbutt. Bullhorn. So I'll block 1 of their damage. They will take... This is minus health, so that they lose this for attacking. And I'm going to block 1 of that damage, and I'm going to do 1 of myself. So, and I get my +1 from Warrior's Might. So I should do quite a lot of damage here. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so they'll take 1 damage, but they'll also do 1 damage. Sure, I'll do 1 damage and discard a card. Choose what they play next. I don't want them blocking my magic damage. And this should be the win, because I play Fire Blast. It does help that I'm level 3 and they're level 2. So I can have Mage Robes, which will mean I lose the one I just got, which I don't want. I can have Cooking Pot on my head. I like Restore, actually. Or I could go for Scimitar. Which does, you know, quite a lot of physical damage, but I kind of like the ones I've got. I'm actually going to go for just take some gold. Yeah. I think that's the right choice. I'm going to put Gold Pouch down there, and I'm not going to play either of these. Now, the reason is... I want to... Ooh, actually, I will. I'll play a Snake here. Because I'm going to hit up this burn thing. Which means that I'm going to have a debuff, and the enemy will have a debuff in the next fight. I don't want to fight a Shade when I've got this horrible debuff on, so I'm actually going to use the Snake to basically absorb that. Now, you can probably see that there aren't any like crazy advanced tactics coming in here. It's simply a case of run around, try and grab some loot, get some level ups before hitting the goal. Now, you do get some missions where you're on a timer, and it'll be like, someone is going to attack you in 12 turns, and you basically have to quickly level yourself up. But sometimes you get ones that'll be like, get to here and stop the ritual in 10 turns. And it's a case of, well, if you start here and you need to get to here, there's only a certain like type of card you can play, and if you get really unlucky and don't draw those cards, you could just fail the mission without actually getting to the ritual because you just had bad RNG. And I think that is a problem in this game, that it does suffer from that. Yeah, if you get bad RNG, you just don't have a chance. Ooh, clairvoyance. Nice. I'd like to get that and then hit this guy up, because being able to see what he's going to play next is quite nice. But yeah, I have had several times where I've just lost by RNG, and there is nothing I could have done. Now, that's somewhat helped by the fact that if that happens, you don't lose anything. Like, your characters don't level up after missions, they just level up in the mission and gets reset. They want to block 1, and I guess I will block 1 of theirs, and I'll do an extra magic damage next time I do magic damage. Right, so they want to do 1 magic, block 1 magic. But I'm going to do 2 magic. So I should do an extra 1 because of the thing I did last time. Unblockable. Okay, I'll use Copycat. And it died from burn. So, yeah, I think that the problem is there is not a lot of really depth to the strategy in this game. I don't want to replace that. The club I've already got. I don't really want to replace... I know this is like a level 2 and that's a level 1, but... Okay, I'll do it. I'll replace it with the glyph because I'll get a heal and I'll also get a draw card. So I'll replace my T, which is a shame. The strategy only really comes in where you don't have any of this time and you're basically like, I can just run around, and how long do I want to run around before I finally, you know, I think the term is nut up and just go for the fight. So right now, I could run around basically forever and keep taking fights, but there is the chance eventually RNG will screw me over and I will die. Right now, I'd like to get this, and then if I'm going to get this next, like, I'd like to fight the Shade and then this, but if I'm going to get this, I kind of think I want to go straight for the Minotaur, so there's nothing I can actually put down to go through here. Like, none of these are compatible. So I'm just going to have to end the turn. Get Clairvoyance. And yes, right, that is compatible. Phantom Stupidity. I was hoping it would be a good one. So, that's a little bit of RNG, but, you know, understandable RNG. I think what I'll do is I will waste the Phantom Stupidity on a Mimic, but I promise I'll also use my Clairvoyance on the Mimic as well. Swings and roundabouts, eh? Swings and roundabouts. Maybe I should put a level 3 enemy down. Yeah, okay, we'll fight a level 3 enemy. I think we'll fight a Shade. And use our Clairvoyance on level 3 enemy so that we can defeat the level 3 enemy, hopefully with some ease, get some decent, like, gear from it, and then we'll fight a Mimic. So this is where the strategy comes in. But in terms of battles themselves, there's not a lot of real depth to it. Alright, so blocks 2 melee, does 2 magic. I can't block any magic except for with Holy Seal, which will heal me. I probably want to draw a card. And see, next time it's going to block some physical. I'm going to block its magic. Or I could clone the enemy's next card. Yeah, I'm going to clone the enemy's next card because I can see it because I've got Clairvoyance. It's a pretty good card. Now, I definitely want to keep Holy Seal to block this because per damage they get heal. I'm going to keep this. I'm actually going to use Imaginary Cannon. And then I want to block this with Holy Seal, which will heal me. They won't get any heal. And they're going to do 2 magic, block a magic. But I'm going to use Shadow Spear, which is unblockable. And the Shade is dead. Oh, but it has Tenacious. Can't be killed unless on 1 HP. Should have remembered that. So they want to use that, which is going to heal them. I can't block it, can I? So I'm going to use Rekindle, which will heal me. They can do 1 damage. They're going to block a magic. So I should use Bullhorns. Close, very close. But we get a level 3. So we can take this, which replaces our level 2. I get Tenacious, which means can't be killed unless on 1 HP. That's good. That's basically good for 1 hit most of the time. I could take this instead, which gives me a 2 block, and per HP blocked I get a heal. And it gives me Smite and Focus. Focus is reasonable. I'd say that the staff is probably a good idea. Or I could get the Heater Shield, which is plus 1 HP. I think I'm going to go for Heater Shield. And I'm level 4 now. I'm going to put the massive gem down here. And I think we want to go straight in now. This is where it comes down to just don't roll poorly. So I think we've got Stupidity for this fight, don't we? Yeah, Stupidity 2 this fight. So they're going to do 1 melee and lose 1. I'm going to just block their melee, do 1 of my own, so they'll take 2. Or 3, because of Warrior's Might. Yep. They're going to do 2 block 1. And I can't really do anything about that, so I'm going to do Bash. This card, Stupidity 3. Thank you for that. They're going to 2-2, do one to themselves. I'm going to do a Kindle, which will give us a heal, and do one to them. They do one to themselves, which will basically kill them, but I can just do Flame Lash, which is quick, so it acts before them, and they won't even get a chance to do the damage, because they will be dead. And now I get to pick loot. Frankly, I don't think any of this loot is going to be particularly great. Ooh, Ignite is pretty good though. It does 1 magic and then 1 magic per round. I mean, I know Restore is, if successful, you get 2 HP back. But if successful, 1 magic per round? Ah, Shimmering Cloak does the same thing, but it also gives us, the thing we do be replacing gives us HP. I don't really want to give up HP, and especially Repel. Sparkly Headband, though. I'm gonna go for Sparkly Headband. And we get our gems, so... Defeat the Minotaur, hopefully. Come on. So, Decay. Taking 2+ damage in 1 turn causes 1 extra damage. So we've got Decay as well. And all physical damage deals +1 damage at half health or less. Okay, so it wants to do 2 damage to me. If it does 2 damage, it'll do +1 because of Fury. Because of Decay, yeah. So I can block just 3 damage, but I'm going to save that for something crazy bad. However, Ignite would be pretty nice. I'm going to hold off for now. I'm going to use Holy Seal, which will heal us from the 1 damage they do, and block 1 of the damage. And do 1 damage. Strike. I think I could use Bash to block that, but I want to use Ignite. I want to get them on fire. Right, here we go. So they want to do 2, block 1. I don't want them to do 2. I'm going to use Bash to block 1. So basically I'm going to take 1 damage, but they're still burning, so it's actually a decent trade. So they're going to take 1 damage themselves. So I'm going to do a magic damage and heal. And they're dead. That was a really easy fight. I was expecting much harder. And I get to pick a weapon, which doesn't really matter because we're about to end. So I'm actually going to go for just take some gold, because your equipment gets lost. And I'm going to put a massive gem down. I don't think that will matter, because I think the game will end as soon as we get to that square. Yeah, there we go.
Now showing off is quite a bore, and certainly not becoming. But what we have here, next in store, will surely have you running.
So we got, 16 gold, so pretty good loot. Thank you for the bard for the outro there. And we can now spend the gold. You can see that, let's show you the expanding the dungeon portion. So the expanding the dungeon port, you can see that you've got things like archery range, stuff like that. So I've got all the tier 1s. All the tier 2s, however, cost 500, so I can't buy one to show you. But the tier 1s all cost 50, and we've got all of them. So they do stuff like unlock Cat Burglar. So the reason I've got a Cat Burglar is because I've got a hidden den. Talisman of the Trickster, which unlocks Trickster's Favor. So that's one of the buffs I could put on at the beginning, like I showed you. We've got the Bruiser. We've got the Warrior's Spirit. And we've got stuff like Hug in a Bottle, which was +1 HP for the first 2 fights. Unlock the Mime. So these basically do, unlocking particular classes and giving certain buffs. So, the Cat Burglar is, I think it defends against magic, does physical damage, and the Mime, of course, does magic damage, defends against physical. And then you get, different classes. Now, the classes aren't necessarily better. The Barbarian is... what's the rules of Barbarian? I can't remember. I'll have to double check the Barbarian in a second for you. But they're not actually particularly any better. In fact, I really don't like the Barbarian at all. But you do get things like Warrior's Might, which is pretty cool. +1 physical damage anytime you do physical damage is a nice buff. And you get to basically build the new buildings. And you place the buildings down anywhere. There isn't any real strategy other than unlocking and placing them down. When you place them down, they'll appear as a card and you'll be like, I place you here. They don't have any synergies for being next to each other. There is no real tactics at this level, other than just, I want this, buy it, place it down. And that's pretty much as far as it goes. There aren't any tactics at this level, it's merely a case of unlocking and placing it somewhere. It doesn't really care where you place it. You will lose lots of people, but as I said, it doesn't matter because they all go back to level 1. As you can see by the Dungeoneers, our Mime 5 HP. No equipment. So that's something that might throw you, the fact that you don't actually level up. You only level up in the quest itself, and then you go back to, level 1. So losing people will happen fairly often, and that's mainly often due, I find at least, to RNG, the fact that you couldn't really have done anything in that situation now. Maybe in terms of laying out the dungeon you could have gone for a different tactic, but particularly in the fight we just had, we owned the Minotaur, mainly due to the fact that we had drawn some pretty good cards, and our loot had been pretty good, and exactly what we needed. And this is Guild of the Dungeoneering. Guild of Dungeoneering is... see, the problem is, I think I like it. I like Guild of Dungeoneering. Its strongest aspect is by far the fact that it's a really easy-to-use interface, and it has so much character. Like, the music in the background, the way the bard narrates things in little ditties, it's just so good. It really is the most characterful game I've probably played in a very long... maybe ever. Because it really just picks on its theme and just runs with its theme, and it doesn't compromise. It knows its theme and it just goes for it. The downside is that if you're looking for something with really in-depth tactics, this game is not it. The tactics are not that in-depth. Now, part of that is because, card-based combat games don't tend to be particularly in-depth quite often. Not unless you get to something like Magic or whatever. But it doesn't have a variety of different options, and sometimes you definitely can be screwed by the RNG. It does happen fairly often, but then again, at those points you don't lose anything. All that happens is you have just lost that battle, in effect, and you just have to effectively re-enter, although that can be a bit tiring. I have found myself going back into the same battle about 3 or 4 times before the RNG stopped screwing me over. Particularly, this is noticeable on timed battles, where it's like, get to this square in 10 turns. Yeah, but you're not giving me the right tiles to place. I'm going the opposite direction. What? So... in all, I really, really like the game. I probably would recommend it, and I might even try a Let's Try, depending on what people think, in the comment section below, and maybe we'll play it for a couple of episodes. So, I like it, but it's not definitely like an in-depth tactical game. So just be aware of that if you're going to pick it up, that you're not picking up something that's crazy in-depth, but it's certainly good fun, and it knows that. It knows that it's good fun, and it doesn't try to really be much more. And, that is absolutely fine. Maybe not like something really in-depth. Maybe just don't want to kick back and relax and you're like, I don't want to think about things. I want to just card game. Yeah, sure. This game is absolutely brilliant for that. I mean, it's not Candy Crusher level of turn your brain off, but I really like it. I think it is a quite nice game, although I would love it if they'd just put some video options in. Like, right here, it's telling me that it's upscaling, I think, from 1080p. Oh, we're upscaling. Well, why did you upscale? I don't want you to. Stop doing it! That's my own personal gripe. This has been Guild of Dungeoneering. You can get it on Steam, certainly. I don't know if it's anywhere else. It might be on GOG. If so, I'll put a GOG link down below, just to diversify the market a bit. But yeah, I've been EnterElysium. If you enjoyed this impressions video, we've gone for quite a while now, so if you've liked, give it a like, not subscribed, please consider subscribing. But until next time, I love you awesome nerds, and stay shiny.